Now, as you all know, Dave Filoni is working on several projects at the same exact time, not just Mando Season 4 and Ahsoka Tano, but we also have a lot of unannounced material that will be unveiled, not just at Celebration, but also at D23 later this year. That's going to be a very big event, even all the more so than Celebration. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, given that there's a lot of things happening behind closed doors over at Lucasfilm, between, of course, Bob Iger getting new employees at the company and really restructuring Lucasfilm and how the working atmosphere is going to be applied to the company. But not just that, we also have Dave Filoni teasing and hinting toward a lot of things to the Star Wars fandom that has a lot to do with the upcoming canon, the lore, the upcoming Star Wars TV shows, and a lot more on the horizon as well. Now, one character in particular that Dave Filoni is very much in favor of is Ahsoka Tano. And as you all know, when Dave Filoni actually created the episode for The Mandalorian Season 2, when Ahsoka made her entrance, he actually was fully in charge of that episode. And so that really brings one to question, where the character is going to go from Mando Season 2 to the Ahsoka Tano series. Now, we know that there's going to be a lot of different ways that she's going to be used in that show, as well as other installments on the near future, of course, at Star Wars, of course, overall. Now, one thing that Dave Filoni actually got the chance to talk about was that he was able to tease about Ahsoka's demise and exactly what's going to happen to Ahsoka at some point in time in the upcoming Star Wars canon. Now, as you all know, in Episode 9, at the very end of the movie, we do hear Ahsoka's voice, portrayed by Ashley Eckson, and she did a great job just providing some kind of dialogue. But anyways, on top of this, given that Disney and Lucasfilm are preparing to make big adjustments to the Star Wars universe, in a recent interview, Dave Filoni, he went on to talk more about Ahsoka Tano and teased a couple of things about her character and her inevitable demise, and what he has planned for all of that. Filoni stated the following to fans: "So look, I never like to kill off my favorite characters or anything like that, but it's a natural thing and happens to people eventually anyway, or a certain circumstance comes in that may make those characters engage in a sacrifice or a defeat. Ahsoka is something myself and John have been going over since we know she was a Force ghost in Episode 9 speaking to Rey, which Ashley did an amazing and great job voicing at the time. So I will say this, her death isn't coming anytime soon, but what we do have fully mapped out and planned is how Ahsoka is going to meet her demise and become one with the Force, and I think fans are really going to love how we are about to establish how she learns this ability in new upcoming canon. That, of course, becoming a Force ghost. I will say this," Dave says, "fans will learn about her demise sooner rather than later in canon, but as far as live-action purposes go, it's not going to happen anytime soon on screen." So Dave Filoni is really putting it out there, by the way, right here, that yes, they have plans for Ahsoka to, perish and become one with the Force, but that's only going to be applied to the canon by next year, but for live-action adaptations of that, it's not going to be anytime soon. So he really elaborated that Ahsoka's death is indeed inevitable, as anybody's is in the Star Wars universe for the most part, right? And so it's really all a matter of when, is what Dave Filoni is really saying. And he knows when and he knows how. And they're going to be doing that in canon first by next year before they want to do this in live action. So anyways, obviously Dave knows that Ahsoka really does drive in a lot of fans, and that Ahsoka as a character is pretty much, almost a guarantee that fans will engage with that character more so than other characters. Now, beyond all of this, we know that the Ahsoka series is going to have a lot of things related to Jedi lore, the Jedi mythology, the world between worlds, the astral plane, which by the way is going to be the official way of calling the netherworld of the Force, or where the Force ghosts come from. It's actually going to be called the astral plane. This was an original idea by Colin Trevorrow, the original Episode 9 director that got fired by Kennedy. that Dave Filoni's picking up on. And so I think that when we look at Star Wars characters, the one thing that may come out of this very well is that she may be one of the very few characters that actually dies and stays dead and doesn't necessarily come back. It seems like Disney has been going on this trend of bringing characters back to life or making it out to be that some characters never really died. For example, Boba Fett, Palpatine, Darth Maul, all these different characters, even Mace Windu is now in the cards to come back, that he never really died, and that's something that has been in the works, but I think that's something that fans will have no problem with. The problem that fans have is how many characters are coming back to life or are being unveiled that they never really died in a row. That's the problem that fans are having. So it kind of balances things out when some characters don't necessarily come back to life. Now, do I think that Ahsoka should be killed off? Obviously not now. That's what Dave Filoni is saying. Live action wise, that's not happening anytime soon. He goes on to state, "We know we have so much to explore with this character, and we are already working on a season 2 of our own series, which is exciting. We actually talked with Ashley about how Ahsoka is going to die, and meet her step into a larger world, and she was super ecstatic. So if I got Ashley's approval, I know I did my job right. She loved it, and believes fans will love it too. Even Rosario loves it. But as I made it clear, we don't want to put this in live action just yet. We want to explore her character deeply for the years to come, but we will be explaining how it happens by next year in canon. I can say that much for everybody. I also got George's approval on how Ahsoka meets her time, and he almost got teary-eyed over how we wrote it for the community. We are still working on some of the specifics, but we are almost there to finalizing everything and what really happens to Ahsoka." Now, that has been the long question since 2019. How did Ahsoka die? Why is she a Force ghost in The Rise of Skywalker, right? And a lot of people have been asking Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau since, 2020, how did Ahsoka really die? And throughout 2020 and 21, they kind of low-key answered and said, we don't really have the answer for that yet, but she did perish at one point in time. We just haven't really explored how. Now Dave Filoni is teasing and confirming that he knows how she dies, he knows how she goes and meets her time and enters into the astral plane. As I said before, that's going to be the official title of the Netherworld, basically where the Force ghosts go. I think that what Dave is really trying to prepare is also who trains her to become a Force ghost. He also teased that. A part of the big reveal will be how she is able to transfer herself to the astral plane. And so, without a doubt, it's going to be Anakin. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's just common sense. I mean, she is the one who gained all her knowledge by Anakin. She learned a lot of things by Anakin. So it only makes sense poetically for Anakin to teach Ahsoka back how to enter into the netherworld of the Force, basically. So anyways, guys, beyond all of this, I think the fact that Rosario, Ashley, and George gave Dave his approval is great news. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.